So this time was 50 years ago. There's one very famous story, I guess. Used to be told a lot, not so much more. It happened April, right around now, April 1973. Prabhupada, after he left India, after being there for 6 months, now back to the West, but he went right from Calcutta to New York. One flight, I guess maybe to Delhi, then New York, something like that. So it was a very long flight. And that was the flight. Prabhupada's sitting by the window. I'm sitting next to him. Shamasundar's sitting next to me. And the woman's going down with the cart filled with glasses. In the glasses was 7-Up, Coca-Cola, or water on the cart. So as the cart goes by and a woman stops in front of us, funny looking people. And Prabhupada says, "What is this?" 7-Up, Prabhupada. Okay. So we all took 7-Ups in cups, plastic, clear plastic cups with ice and the 7-Ups bubbling. Prabhupada was, we say, childlike. You could be in ecstasy just watching Prabhupada just appear so childlike, so innocent. He's just looking at the bubbles. He's looking. And then he grabbed the cup. And we're following to the letter. We grab our cup. You know, no one touches anything before Prabhupada, huh? My wife's like that. She won't eat until I eat. And we wouldn't eat until Prabhupada ate. So he grabs a cup and he's bringing it up. He's looking at it, you know, ice, bubbles everywhere. And he puts it. Now, if you have ice cold 7-Up, you know what it's like. It actually tingles, does things. And Prabhupada takes it. He let out this, because it's all doing all these things. And he looks at me, he said, "This is very nice." So now we're all just enjoying. Every time he took a sip, he'd do the same thing. It was very good. So we all had, that was the first 7-Up. I mean, I can't say it was a long time. I've been now in this ISKCON society for 2 years. No one ever touched anything. Not even juices you would buy. Everything we made, everything in the temple, everything was made. Nothing prepared. Wouldn't use frozen foods, wouldn't do. So this was big. Prabhupada's drinking a 7-Up. We're in ecstasy. So then that was done. So then we have our lunch. Hours go by. So again, now the stewardess pushing the cart down the aisle. And she stops. Now she's got the whole cart, the cans, everything, you know, the container with ice in it all. So she stops. And in front of us, "Do you want anything?" Prabhupada's, "Up 7. I'll have up 7. So I said, "We'll all have 7-Ups." So now she gives us cans of 7-Ups with the little popping thing. Cans of 7-Ups. And the glasses with the ice. And before he opens, Prabhupada looks at the can and reads it. He goes, "Carbonated water, sugar, citric acid, lemon." He said, "It's all natural ingredients." It was the best 7-Up commercial ever. And he starts drinking his 7-Up. And we're all drinking our 7-Ups. And he says, "Very nice." He said, "It's all natural." So we all had our cans of 7-Up. So that was a 7-Up. So then we arrive in New York. And that was Henry Street Temple, where I was initiated 1 year prior. And we get there and greet the deities, Radha Govinda. And Prabhupada, right next to the temple room was his quarters. It's like a 1-bedroom apartment. And we go inside, and the devotee in the temple, Kirtiraj, says to me, "Does Prabhupada need anything?" And I could never think of anything Prabhupada needed while I was with him, because he never needed anything. He was, whatever he had, that was sufficient. And I was not a very creative personality. Others might have had all kinds of things getting prepared, but something in my head went off, and I said, "Yes, you can bring a 6-pack of 7-Up." He looked at me like I was crazy. 7-Up? I said, "Yes." "You sure?" "Yes, just bring me 6-pack of 7. I didn't say anything else. I said, "Just bring 6-pack of 7-Up." So now he's thinking Srutikirti's really in Maya. He's drinking 7-Ups. So I got the 6-pack, and there was a little mini fridge in a little kitchenette area, and I put it in there, almost like hiding it. It was like hiding drugs, you know. I hid the 7-Up. You don't want this to go around. So then one day goes by, and I can't figure out how to give Prabhupada a 7-Up. He's not asking for it anymore. That was a plane. Planes had their own, regulations. Sometimes we would eat the vegetarian food that they offered on the plane. Later on, he didn't. Early, he didn't. But he could see whatever he did, everybody does. Except for getting up at midnight. Nobody's doing that. But everybody, if he was to eat something, they'd eat it, If he was to drink it, they'd drink it. But they couldn't follow his program. That's what it means, don't imitate. That's the very meaning of don't imitate. Don't try to find the one thing you like, how you can enjoy. I'll do that. No, do all the other things first, right? Like we say, Lord Shiva, right, took intoxication, but he drank ocean poison. Well, we can't do that. Anyway, the time came. Krishna arranges everything. The bell rings. Not even the bell rang. This devotee was in Prabhupada's room with him. It's like 7 o'clock at night, and it's hot. It was a hot summer evening. Prabhupada's windows are open, fans on, no ACs. We didn't have AC. So this devotee comes to me. I'm sitting by the kitchen area, and he had been talking with Prabhupada for some time. He comes to me, he said, "Prabhupada wants water." I said, "Okay, I'll bring it in." Most places there was always the jug. You're like Vrindavan, you have your clay jug sitting there filled with water all the time. I just read that thing somebody put, after 60 you lose your desire to drink. It says most of our problems are due to dehydration, us elders. So we're supposed to drink a lot of water. Prabhupada always drank a lot of water. Always had that jug there, and regularly he would be drinking. So anyway, knowing my service, and he's give me his glass of water. I'm like, no, that's my service. You see, I can be very, what's the word? Possessive, yes. I can be very possessive with my service to Srila Prabhupada to this day. So I said, no, I'll do it. So he just, went back into Prabhupada's room, and I knew now's the time. 7-Up time. So I have a silver plate, silver goblet, a nice chalice. In Catholic Church, we call it the chalice. Nice chalice, silver. And I have cold 7-Up, and I have ice cubes. We're American. Colder the better. I put it in, I put the 7-Up in, and now I go to the door of Prabhupada's room, and the door is closed. Prabhupada didn't do closed doors. He didn't care about closed doors. He had nothing he was hiding. He liked his doors open. You could see what a devotee does. See, I'm reading my books. I'm chanting rounds. I'm doing bhajan. He wanted you to see what it is like to be a devotee. So I come to the door. I open the door. Boy, there's this devotee again, trying to block my devotional service. Don't let anyone stop you from your service. No one get in the way. So he's trying to grab it, and I was a very timid person. But this was very special. So I just pushed past him. Prabhupada's sitting behind his desk. He's always looking marvelous, beautiful, effulgent. And I come in, I put it down on his table, just like this, just a little table. I put it down there, offer my obeisances, and I sit up and I see Prabhupada. What is that? I said, oh, it's 7-Up, Prabhupada. He goes, oh. So then he grabs it, and he stands up. He got up, he stood up, and he goes, this is very nice. And the other devotees looking, Prabhupada's drinking 7-Up at his desk. This is impossible. Prabhupada stood there. Nothing happened for the next couple of minutes. Prabhupada just took sip by sip. You can't drink it all at once. You got to sip it. So he sipped it and he finished it. The whole chalice filled with 7-Up. I said, would you like some more, Prabhupada? He said, no, that's okay. So that was that day. So then the next day comes. Mangalarti, greet the deities, Guru Puja, Prabhupada gives class, has his breakfast. Bali Murdan, Prabhupada, we have a temple we want you to see. This was way before 55th Street. They're in a little brownstone, they were called, 5 stories, narrow. We have this beautiful temple we want you to see. It's a church, big cathedral church. Prabhupada said, all right. So around 10 o'clock in the morning, sunny, warm day, just like here. So Bali Murdan has a car. We had this little 1973. It was this tiny little Toyota Corolla, 4 doors, no air conditioning. It barely fit the 4 of us. Bali Murdan was sitting next to the driver. Driver was Kirtiraj, same person. And Prabhupada in the back, and I'm sitting next to him. So it was a short drive, and park on a spot in Manhattan, big, huge, I don't know what cathedral it was, but glorious cathedral, probably built 100 years before there, stained glass windows, the big chandeliers, so many chandeliers, and the doors were open. So we get out of the car, we're right on the sidewalk. And then Bali says, Prabhupada's ready to go in. Look at the place. And he says, no, we can't actually go in. They don't know we're devotees, so we have to do this, in a concealed way. He said, but I wanted you to see. And Prabhupada's looking, very attentive, and he's looking and he sees, the church. And you can see all the pews, and you can see, and he said, we'll call it Gauranga Hall. He already named it Gauranga Hall. We never did buy that place. But he was ready. He loved it. Pews were there, everything. Like same thing in Los Angeles when the pews were there. He said people can come in, sit down, and hear lectures, even with their shoes on, not the temple room. He wanted to make facility like that. Anyway, we stood there, talked for a few minutes, and the sun's coming down like noontime. And Prabhupada looks at me, and there's a little, what do they call those stores? Bodegas? Little like Italian grocery store. They were everywhere in New York in those years. Yeah, deli, yeah. So almost every corner there's a little deli for the local people. And Prabhupada was from New York, right? He knew New York City. Don't think Prabhupada was somewhere and he didn't learn. He knew everything going on, all the different parts, the types of people, he knew everything. So he looks at me, he said, they have up 7? He's looking at the store. I said, yes, Prabhupada. I said, do you want one? He said, yes. So I turned to Kirti Raj. I said, Prabhupada wants a 7-Up. What? Prabhupada wants a 7-Up. He goes in the store. There's 4 of us. He goes in the store, he buys 1 can of 7-Up. I wasn't very creative, but I was more creative than that. I would have, gotten a whole 6-pack. But he got 1 can of 7-Up. He gives it to me, I give it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada has his cane in his left hand, we always had it. And he's standing there right on the street corner with the can of 7-Up. We didn't have any cameras there. We didn't get any photos, but he's drinking the 7-Up. And always after every sip. And while we were done, and Kirti Raj just looking at Prabhupada, we couldn't believe this person from the spiritual world. He's standing here drinking a 7-Up. And we're in ecstasy. You want ecstasy. See, this is how you get ecstasy. You serve your devotional service. You serve your spiritual master. And he teaches you how to become ecstatic, how to develop ecstatic love for Krishna by developing love for your spiritual master. And that love has actions. Not I love you, I love you, I love you, and you just sit on your butt all day. No, that's not love. You do things. We did things all the time. And just watching him with a can of 7-Up put us in ecstasy. If Satya had a can of 7-Up, I wouldn't go into ecstasy. I might ask him for some, and he'd give it to me. But seeing Prabhupada do anything could make us go into ecstasy. So this is the idea. This is what we're seeing here. The gopis are always in ecstasy. Whatever Krishna does, whatever he doesn't do, whatever he says, when he doesn't say, ecstasy. This is Krishna consciousness. So then we get in the car, and Prabhupada's still holding this ice-cold can of soda. And Prabhupada takes another sip in the car, and then he hands it to me, sitting next to him. And all of a sudden, there's like 4 hands coming from the front seat. There's only 2 people there, but 4 hands are trying to grab my 7-Up. Prabhupada gave to me. But I shared. I was always very good at sharing Prabhupada's Maha Maha. Not very often you got to share Maha Maha 7-Up. And Prabhupada, he's not, but inside he's just laughing like anything at us, because we're like a bunch of monkeys around Prabhupada, but happy monkeys, we're happy. So then that was that. So Prabhupada stayed in New York for 3 days, then he flew to Los Angeles. We get to Los Angeles, greets the deities, gives an arrival lecture, and he goes to his room. And Karundar's in the room. This was 3 days had passed. Karundar's in the room. Karundar was the GBC. He was one of the first, he was the most powerful devotee. We offer obeisances. As soon as he sits up, Karundar says, Prabhupada, everyone's drinking 7-Up here in the Grahastha ashram. All the apartments, they have 7-Up in the ashrams. I heard you're drinking 7-Up. So it beat. Prabhupada got there after, because this is what we would do. Whatever Prabhupada was doing, just like this is what it's about, 10th canto. Whatever he's doing, write that down. We have to tell everyone. He said that one time. You could print. He said a different thing about letters. Sometimes he said you could print. Sometimes he said they're personal, which some of them were and some of them weren't. You had to be able to use your discretion. Some people say you shouldn't read any of Prabhupada's letters. No, that's not true. There's so much information in those letters. And in some of them he says, tell all the devotees they should do like this. So we have to be in